Welcome, Carole Pugh. I see you have brought in this week a book by a very good writer.
Yes, SArah Dunant. She's wonderful. She is a broadcaster in Britain. She used to run a book show on television, on BBC television. Very clever woman. She wrote a lot of thrillers that were very interesting, quite feminist thrillers. And then she wrote 3 marvellous books about, all set in Italy. She's got an apartment in Florence, and she lives a lot of the year, she has a house in London as well, but lives a lot of the year in Italy, and is totally steeped in excuse me, Italian history. So has written a lot about the women, particularly there, looking at different aspects of the women's lives. So there was one set in a convent, wonderful one set in a convent. The one before that was the story of courtesans. So she's looked at prostitutes and nuns and the various roles of women.
So what could come next after
well,
that?
the Borgias, the Borgias.
Right.
And it's totally fantastic and thrilling and gripping, and I loved it to bits.
Wonderful
I can't
title,
recommend
Blood
it.
and Beauty.
Yeah, Blood and Beauty. And it actually, I think the publicity about it says that they were driven by power and defined by blood. The interesting thing for me was that I have grown up somehow with the idea that Lucretia Borgia was a particularly evil and nasty woman.
Indeed, that's my feeling as well.
A bit of a whore and rather cruel and so on. Not at all. She's done a huge amount of research, and she gives a big bibliography at the back. And Lucretia comes out as this really intelligent, very compassionate young woman who was utterly a pawn in the power plays of her family. Now, her father becomes Pope Alexander VI, and he basically buys his way, you know, and bribes the cardinals to vote for him, and there's all sorts of nasty, corrupt stuff goes on in order to make him Pope. Once he's Pope, you know, he has this complete control and power, but his sons are worse than him. He is shown as a man with some heart, who does, at least as nasty as he may be in terms of murdering his enemies and manipulating his wealth and so on, he does have very strong feelings for his family. He loves Lucretia, but he also loves his sons, and so you see a very human side of him as well.
Sounds a bit like Tony Soprano. And to the millionth degree.
Right.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of parallels with political, you know, destroying of one's enemies and political corruption that, you know, that goes on now, and you look back at the tyrants and dictators of the 20th century.
It makes Italian politics sort of make sense. I mean, current day Italian politics, doesn't it? When it has that as the heritage.
And I mean, certainly the whole Catholic Church and the religion, one thinks,
hideous times, though, too.
Yeah,
huh?
very much so. And Caesar, his son, one of his 3 sons, but the most powerful of his son, the one who originally is in the church and then leaves the church to become a soldier, is absolutely self-indulgent, completely vile and dangerous. I mean, apparently Machiavelli as the prince was based on him. He's a really evil character. And a close bond between him and Lucretia, but even she comes to realise that he will just use her, murder her husbands, make her marry someone else for the family connections to the various Italian city-states, so that they've got allies where they need them. And
so does the author say in any notes that these characters are historically, you know, that it's as close as she could get? I mean, that she hasn't just made it up all of the stuff.
I think they're as historically accurate as she can get them.
At the same time as writing a cracking good fiction piece.
Fleshed them out and made them very human. And it is totally gripping. And I mean, it's a bit like reading a thriller in a way. But you also become emotionally engaged. So by the very end of the book, I was quite emotionally involved in it, and she's going to write part 2.
All right. It's going to do a Hilary Mantel, is she, like
Wolf,
etc., etc. Yes.
My response was good. Yes. I can't wait for part 2.
So, Blood and Beauty by SArah Dunant. Sounds like a good one.
It really
Thank
is.
you so much, Carole.
Thank you.